So today is new bike helmet day. It's that time of the year here in Australia where the sun finally comes out again, down south here in Victoria, but the wind really picks up. And doing long Ks in the wind by yourself, with the sun beating down, I've always chosen to go with the Evade helmet. For good reason. I don't get the tiger stripes on my head. Oh, and those birds too. It helps not to have holes in the top of your helmet so they can't get their claws in. So before I talk more about this helmet out here on the road, let's have a look at the unboxing and all the details. Friends. Okay, before getting to the unboxing of the new Evade 2, let's have a look at my older workhorse, the Evade 1. I've had this since early 2014, so it's seen many, many kilometers. A bit of discoloration across the top. There's a few dings in the foam. That's from travel, not from crashing. Obviously, if I crash in a helmet, it goes away into the bin. Broken part of the back here. So this one's just seen better days for sure. So this is the older model, which I am upgrading. It does say here claimed weight of 283 grams for this. Let's put that to the test. Obviously things are going to be a little different given it's done many, many kilometers. 293. Okay, not too bad. But look, weight really isn't what these are all about. It's more about the aerodynamics and, for me, the sun protection on top. And I think they look pretty cool anyway. But this is the older model. Let's get on to what today's all about, which is the Evade 2 upgrade for the upcoming summer season. Okay, so in the box we have everything, including the ANGi sensor activation code, because this is both MIPS and the ANGi sensor on the back there. Now, one of the things I'm interested in is the new clip. So the new magneto clip, which locks into place. We'll get this all sorted, so pull that way to remove. Okay, information about the ANGi stuff. We'll take off. Dual density foam, okay. Okay, that's about it. And you'll see a little sticker here, Australian certified. Without this sticker, which I will push down, we cannot ride on the road in Australia without that certification. We cannot race without that certification. It is a law here in Australia for us to both wear a helmet and wear one that is Australian standard certified. So if you lose that sticker, your helmet is effectively worthless. Important to have that sticker on. Okay, cool. So it looks good, nice and white, no dings whatsoever. In the box here we have the manuals and everything, and a full mesh cover there. No bugs out and about, so we'll put that one back in the box. But side by side in these two helmets, well, we'll get you pride of place over there. You can definitely see the discoloration in this one. That's very yellow or orange. A lot of Ks out in the sun. But you can see the difference between the two. Air vents on the top, only one there. Side, different design there too. Anyhow, I think this looks cool. Upgrading to this one today. You are going to be put to pasture. Thank you for your service. Now, onto the weight of this thing here. What do we have? A claimed weight of 300 grams without visor. We always have to put this to the test. 313. Okay, plus or minus a few percent. But there we are. As for the ANGi sensor, I've covered that in full details in another video, which I will link to below, and how that integrates with the Wahoo head unit. It also integrates very well with the Specialized app. Okay, let's get this ANGi sensor set up within the Specialized app. Very easy to do. Once we remove the battery insulator from here. You've seen the Tour de France. I think they're red or orange pods they've put on, so they really stand out. But in real life, the ones you purchase from the store are only black. There we go. And back on. Good, good, good. That should come awake. There we go. Small, very light green light happening there. Okay. With that doing its thing, jumping over to the Specialized app, we hit plus, ANGi helmet sensor on this. Swipe to continue, battery door open, we've done this. Remove plastic film, yep. Close battery door, we're there. And here we go, waking the ANGi up, green light is on. We hit next, it searches. We have to grab the code supplied in the box. Excellent, that's done. We've linked that code to the ANGi sensor, emergency contacts. Next, we'll put my wife in here. And we are done. Okay, so that's linked. We need to wake this thing up. Oh, and we have a firmware update required already. Okay, let's get that done. So once it's connected, firmware update taking place. We'll call the helmet Llama Evade 2. Excellent. Okay, test mode. Let's have a look at this. Now here's something very interesting. X, Y, and Z. And to test this unit, we can switch the rotation. Well, effectively, that's how it's going to be in my head, like that. And you can see the forces being detected on the helmet there. All right, everything is operational. Good, good. And the true test is to start a ride, give this a bit of a smack. Well, enough of a smack that it sets it off. And there we go, incident detected. Let's simulate a crash, and in 30 seconds, my contacts will be alerted, so that does work with that little slap there. Okay, we'll cancel that one. So I think a very nice looking helmet. It's quite plain, but also doesn't have that bowling ball look across the front. So it does have a bit of character to it and will suit me for hopefully the next few years. The MIPS is a bonus, MIPS, and the ANGi sensor is also a bonus, but most important for us here in Australia is that standard sticker. Okay, there's a close-up, there's the weight. Let's put this to use. So back out here on the road where hopefully I'm out of the bombing zone of these magpies. And there we have it, a closer look at the Evade 2 helmet that I have. Fit-wise, seems to fit my weird-shaped head quite well. Airflow-wise, I've never had a problem with an aero helmet such as the Evade. For me, all the air comes in sort of in this direction. There's always enough venting through here and out the back to never really overheat, even on a hot day. So the Evade for me is my go-to travel helmet, and especially, as I said before, out here by myself. And those pesky birds can't get their claws in. So with the ANGi sensor that's on the back, I feel like I'm being followed. The ANGi sensor that's on the back here, which does crash detection or incident detection, is linked to my Wahoo Roam head unit here. I'll link below to my video on that, which I did earlier this year when that integration first came out between Specialized and Wahoo for that. Now you can also buy the ANGi sensor for non-specialized helmets and stick them on. So it is an aftermarket purchase, and they simply stick onto the back of a helmet somewhere in about the same location. And thinking more on the ANGi technology, which I believe used to be IceDot before Specialized purchased that company, there's a lot of potential there. First of all, car back. First of all, with the head positioning on a bike, it has accelerometers now on my helmet. So if I was to put my head here, here, or here, you could potentially get different readings from the unit. Now, safety-wise, we all know what it's about. It's about crash detection. But I think this kind of technology, maybe with a few tweaks, could be used for head positioning. Now what I mean by that is you would set an optimal position on the bike, test it either in a wind tunnel or maybe at a bike fitting studio, where they'll say, look, here is your optimal head angle for your bike fit. So just say here. And you record that as a baseline. And as you're riding along, your head unit can tell you whether you're at that angle. Now it's not perfect, but the technology is already there. You just have to link it all up. It's just software. Leomo do exactly this with their Leomo sensor kit, which I saw early on in the year with Adam Hansen over at the Tour Down Under demonstrating that. But stepping a little further back and away from technology, something as simple as a shock watch that we used to use on box shipping could be very handy on helmets for not simply crash detection, but as we saw on the Tour de France the other day, when Romain Bardet hit the ground and he was concussed, there was no indication for how hard he hit his head. There was no data on that. A simple shock watch which will break and go red if something is hit hard enough or fast enough could be something very cheap that could be integrated into helmets. Now, anytime a helmet takes a massive hit, you don't want to use the helmet again. It's going to be compromised. Anyhow, coffee shop's still open. Time for a coffee before we finish this ride. I'm back out in the open plains. I'm a bit nervous because there's more magpies around, but we'll leave it at that for now. Thanks for watching this one. As always, hit subscribe to support the channel. And if I live to tell this tale, we'll be back soon with more. All right, see you later.